This is the place where real dialogue matters.
Make some noise for that sound, man.
It is time to take flight with Audio Airstrike.
That's the sound of me lifting off.
Now, here's your host, Everett Hall-McNeill.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Audio Airstrike. I'm Everett Hall-McNeill. Thank you for joining us once again. This is episode 104. We appreciate you for listening. Now, you guys have seen him on Audio Airstrike countless of times. I have argued with him. I've debated with him. I've also agreed with him. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my good friends, Jeff Henson, is with us. What's up, man?
It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
I hear that, man. So you gave me a call, and I was surprised on a couple of occasions.
All right.
You actually went to church.
Let's talk about it.
You actually went to church, but sadly, you also gave me news that you were kicked out. So I just wanted to kind of talk about this because this is an interesting topic. For those of you who don't know, Jeff, as of right now, is atheist. I'm devout Christian. So he gave me a call and kind of shared a little bit about what's going on now. Keep in mind, I don't know the whole story, so I'm kind of going to let Jeff kind of take it away, and then I'm going to give my thoughts. So, Jeff, how in the world did you get kicked out of church?
Well, for one, I want to point out that we're in Baltimore County. I'm not going to disclose what church it was and none of that, you know. I'm not here to bash churches because, honestly, I just don't care. You know, am I going to church for them to persuade me to not be an atheist? I was not. I decided that, and this is all me, this is my opinion, you know, a lot of churches growing up, especially like in the South, excuse me, it's kind of like a family. You know, you ever watch a movie from Georgia or Carolina or anything of that nature? You got the same people to go to church every Sunday in the same town, and you know, you get, it's good vibe. You watch it on TV, you get good vibes from it. I went to church twice, by the way, just twice. I went the night before to ask questions. I said, and I did all this experimentally based. I did not expect to get these results, by the way. I wasn't even documenting none of this shit. I didn't do this to come on your podcast and be like, your fucking church will suck. I didn't do none of that. I went in there the night before and I said, just curious, if I was to start coming to church, what are the guidelines? Basically told me the church is open to everyone. They don't discriminate. They're not against different religions. They love to educate, you know, and they want people to come in. It's exactly what I heard from the same person that kicked me out, by the way. Keep all this in mind. So I've recently been plaguing an injury, so I decided I went for a run, went worked out, came home. I got out the shower. When I get out the shower, I don't feel like brushing my hair and doing all this crazy shit with it. So you know what I do? I throw this motherfucker on. I throw this on because it keeps my hair in place and I don't got to do much with it. I'm pointing this out for a reason. I came home, I hopped in the shower, and I didn't even tell nobody where I was going. I said, I'll be right back. I'm going to the store. I went into the church, and I had on this same bandana. This is why I'm wearing it. I had on a pair of Under Armour shorts, just a pair of Under Armour shorts, and I had on a white t-shirt. Immediately when I went in, this is Sunday at 11 o'clock, people start like whispering and shit, right? I'm sitting by myself, just chilling, being polite, by the way. I ain't being rude to nobody. For all y'all that find that hard to believe, I'm not a rude person. I'm real. I'll tell you exactly how the fuck it is, right to your face, because I don't give a fuck. But I'm not rude. I don't go places to be rude. You got to bring that shit out of me. I'm minding my business, just chilling in the corner. They say a bunch of different things. I'm unfamiliar with the situation, so I don't know what to do. People would just randomly start standing up and pulling books out and all this other shit, right? Nobody instructed me on what to do, none of that shit. So I'm just fucking chilling. I hear these two old black women up front, and they going back and forth. What is this guy in here with a bandana and all this other shit? They just keep yapping and yapping and yapping. So then, as the what is it called? Ceremony? What is that shit called?
Where the preacher gets up and does his speech.
When he starts to talk, when he comes out and introduces himself and starts to get going.
That's a sermon.
Sermon. I didn't even make it past that. He starts talking. The old lady. So one of the old ladies got up and went up and started talking to him. So he walked to the side with her, and I lie to you not. I could tell in his face that when she was telling him, he was like, "Oh, this bitch," like that's what he was doing. But she's a regular, I guess. She goes to this church. This is her church. This is her people. So he calls somebody up, sends them over to me. They told me I had to leave. Straight up. Sir, you have to get out of here. You're not dressed appropriately for our church. And said it just like that. That's exactly how they said it. Said I wasn't dressed appropriately for church. I responded, what's the issue? I came in here last night and said you guys accept all. Oh, it's the bandana. I can take the bandana off. Sir, we just want you to leave. Now let me tell you something. I felt disrespected. There's three things that happens when I feel disrespected. I'm either pissed off that I'm disrespected, and now I'm about to disrespect you. Right? That's number one. And I say that's number one for a reason. Because I grew up in a rough part of the city. I don't play that disrespect shit. Number two, you disrespect me, I'm going to find out why you disrespect me, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to fix it. That's number two. Number three is the new one that I'm working on. And that's where, no problem, this ain't my place. I don't belong here. No need to be here. I respectfully got up and said, have a great evening to everybody in there. Just walked out. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I felt relieved. I felt like, great. Now I don't need to waste my time on none of this bullshit. That's it. I'm Gucci.
And that's the problem.
I'm going to go ahead and let you take it.
And that's the problem. This is my problem with churches, because when stuff like this happens, you can't say come as you are and then dictate how somebody is dressed and then want to dictate somebody's life right off the bat.
And let me tell you, them bitches was dressing some ugly ass dresses. Yeah, I'm going to roast them. I don't give a fuck. That was not God's plan to come in there in that burnt ass mustard looking dress. Fix it.
When it comes to the church or the body of Christ or whatever fancy name that you want to call it, you are supposed to accept everybody that walks through those doors, because at one point you were one of those people that were coming in dressed any kind of way, messed up, on the rough side of town. So how can you stand over here and judge somebody like him, whether he walks in with a bandana t-shirt or Under Armour shorts, or whether he walks in with ready to pull out 3 different gang signs? I'm just giving examples to people who, regardless of how that person looks, I don't care if a drag queen showed up at your freaking church, you have to welcome them, because Christ sat with prostitutes and all types of stuff in the Bible.
Oh, he was getting some nod.
That's not the point.
They can write however they want to write it, but you know what he was doing with them prostitutes. That's not where I was going with that.
That's not
just chill with prostitutes.
That's not where I was going with that. The point of it is that he sat with the lowest of the low to enact his message of love and peace, and we don't do that nowadays. That's why nobody takes Christians seriously today, because we sit over there and we want to say, come as you are, but we necessarily don't act that way, and it makes us look bad because it's just not right. And it causes a lot of strife, a lot of headaches, and also it causes you giving people a reason not to follow the faith at all. You're giving people a reason, oh, these Christians, they're all the same, they're all judgmental. You are perpetuating this stigma. We have enough black eyes given to us as a religious community. We do not need any more. This is ridiculous. Like when he told me, when now hearing this story, I'm pissed for several reasons.
Tell him.
I'm pissed because these are supposed to be fellow members, fellow Christians that will accept anybody as they are that love Christ. But then they turn around and they basically are stereotyping him. You're basically targeting him, racially targeting him.
I don't
geographically targeting him.
I don't feel like I was racially targeted.
Okay, well, I'll say this.
It was mixed. It was a very mixed church. I can't give you the exact number, but there was probably about 45% African American. There was about 35% white, and then there was about 20. I want to say in between. And I'm probably way off on them numbers because I don't think I got the first one.
So you were targeted based because of your bandana. That's basically what you targeted were.
I don't know.
So they didn't even give you a reason.
I was chilling. The only thing the lady said to me is, you're not dressed accordingly. It's exactly how she said it. She said, "Sir, we're gonna have to ask you to leave."
Here's the problem.
You're stirring up. She basically said, "You're stirring up some echoes." With some of the local and regulars, and they don't feel comfortable with your, I forget shit, so I don't know exactly how she said it, but it basically came down to this and this.
Well, shame on her, that whole congregation, that pastor that sat over there and let it happen. You were the leader of the flock. If anybody comes through those doors and is welcome, you should be the first one in line to welcome them, and that congregation to follow suit. I don't want to hear somebody's not dressed accordingly in terms of church. There are plenty of churches around this city, around this town, and other churches that don't have a dress code. You can come in wearing jeans and t-shirt and be totally fine. Since when do we have to play dress up to worship God? It doesn't make any sense. Since when you guys are home and all hell's breaking loose, the last thing you thinking about, God never says you have to come to me in a suit to talk with me. It's never that case. You can talk to God that we know, that everybody should know, is the type of person that will be like, look, you can come to me however you are, come as you are. I will accept you how you are, and I will work on this together because I want to build a relationship with you. I'm not concerned about what you look like, what your background was, how you dress today, or what you've been through. We can work on building a relationship together. That's what God is trying to do. The problem is that the people that in the congregation and also on that clergy are not trying to do that same thing. You want to nitpick and choose and sit over there and make up rules about dress codes and stuff like that. Stuff that ain't got nothing to do with where his soul goes. And that's my problem. I'm ticked off for two reasons. I'm ticked off because this has tainted his view of Christians. I'm ticked off at that church because they had sat over there and they had straight up lied to this man.
When I was it's not how I view Christians. It's how I view religion. It's not, I prefer this specific religion over that specific religion. I just don't believe in it. I don't believe in something that another man wrote. I have trust issues with human beings. We destroy and we ruin and we freaking, by God, we cancerize everything.
I get your point with that.
So for me, it's not, I don't believe in your God. I don't believe in a God that seemingly seems fake. There's too many loopholes. There's too many there's too many cross patterns. There's too many created religions for me to be like, I don't know which one's real. I don't know which one sounds right. There definitely has to be a higher power because I don't think you create all of this by coincidence. You don't think that you gain life by coincidence. There's obviously something that reaches you way back in the time that created everything.
Right.
What that is, whether it was another entity, whether it was a mixture of cosmic gases, or whether it was a mixture of who fucking knows. I don't. But I do know one thing. Nobody else does. That's my problem with religion. Is it seems like a story that was created by somebody to control another. That's all.
Okay, I could see where your stance is on that. The reason why, and on the flip side too,
because I'm not a hateful person.
Right.
You know, it's cool. That's your thing. We've been friends for how long?
Right.
Do I ever tell you to stop going to church is bullshit?
No,
I do not. You never tell me, hey, you need to go to church. That's where our friendship stays exactly how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You respect each other, and you're willing to grow with another person and learn from another person. That's the only way that you unite. Other than that, we stuck. We stuck in this war of race. We're stuck in this war of greed, and we're stuck in this war of power. And until three things happen, which I fear they will never happen, we're screwed.
So I'm just curious, so I can hear, what are those three things?
Unity, number one. We're never as a society of humans. I'm not going to say a society of America. We're never as the species or the race of human going to grow until we unite. Every country, every edge of each part of this freaking earth has something that provides us, has something that fuels us, has something that helps us grow. But instead, we're more focused on something that a man created, by the way. Fake money that literally has no value because somebody else gave it value. And who controls what aspect of what than we are about the pollution of this earth. The animals that roam this earth, that have the right to roam this earth just as we do, because they are here too. And number three, our atmosphere. Nobody wants to believe what's going on scientifically with the world because, we just go day by day with no worries and believing 3 or 4 different debates. Fuck all that. Look around. Do you not see a problem? I do.
Longer summers,
can't breathe. I'm fucking definitely not going to sit here and try to debate whether or not global warming is a thing or any of that shit, because that's not me. I don't fucking know either. Straight up. I'm not a scientist. I'm not all knowing. I don't know shit, but I can tell you one thing for a motherfucking fact. What we're doing now is not working. We have dirty streets. We have pollution. We have diseased animals. You know, the number one things that's been feeding us for fucking hundreds of years are disease now. And it's more and more. And their way of getting around it is pumping it with steroids, which then harms us, costing us smaller lifespan. Could I be right? Could I be wrong? I don't know. Don't ask me.
There is some truth to that, because that's why a lot of people are, not trusting stuff that you get in the supermarkets as compared to, well, I might as well just go to a farm and get it. So, because it's one thing I don't have to worry about them pumping steroids and a bunch of GMOs that I don't know exist in my food when I'm consuming it. And so it's one of those situations where the biggest thing that I want to say, and this is to bring it back to that point of what you went through, we have to be the change that we want to see. Just because somebody does not look to what we think is the norm doesn't mean we should cast them out. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be sitting over here casting people out, being divisive and anything like that. How is that going to get anybody forward if we're acting in that way? It doesn't. It doesn't move anybody forward. It just puts everybody 2 steps back, 3 steps back, or 5 steps back. Like, it's really ridiculous. It's really wrong. It's deplorable. You have to be the change that you want to see. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what even your sexual orientation is. The bottom line is, if you are going to turn around and act divisive, if you're going to turn around and nitpick and try to judge somebody based off what they're wearing or something like that, with being like, well, you can't come here. That is divisive. It's biased. It's completely deplorable and wrong. You can't act that way and expect to get unity and progression in return. You can't act in division and get unity back. It's karma. We live in a world where there could be instant karma or gradual karma over a number set of years or whatever time is allotted. You know what I'm saying? You have to be careful with that. You have to. You got to. Because you're not in control. You think you're in control. Your heart can stop right now.
Yep.
You think you're in control. And let me tell you something. You want to talk to somebody, you want to have a humbling moment? Talk to somebody that almost lost their life.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to somebody that almost lost their life and get their story. And I guarantee you will value life way more. And you will not waste your time doing petty stuff, being divisive towards people, being nasty towards people, segregating people.
Look,
because
man,
of what they look like or where they're from. It's ridiculous. It's trash.
The two biggest topics today in our presidency and just whatever are so far away from humanity, it's ridiculous. You know, the whole thing with immigration, right? Well, they got these fucking people, you know, chained up or caged up, right? I don't know what's going on. I honestly don't. I see two or three different things that I'm actually not in the trench, so we're not gonna talk about that. I'm not getting into that. But this is what I'm trying to present to you right now. Why is immigration the number one problem in today's society? When they're just humans trying to live. This is what's dividing us as people, is we're being divided by the system that we aren't even allowed to vote off. This was created in place for us to be pawns of, right? We're not involved with the government. We have nothing to do about it. We can't change it. There's nothing we can do about it. We're controlled from the get-go.
I feel like you're controlled from an extent. To an extent, I see your point. I do feel like that I do feel like that this is where I'm a big fan of voting.
So look, check this out. Let me keep your thought. Don't lose your thought.
Okay.
Keep your thought. So let's pump millions and millions of millions, and I'm not dissing Donald Trump. I'm not getting into that debate either. I don't give a fuck about none of that, because I don't even think a president should be a fucking president. But we ain't getting into that either, because that's going to take some time, and I want to be politically correct on all of it. We're pumping millions and millions and millions of dollars into Border Patrol, millions and millions of dollars into immigrancy, millions and millions of dollars into freaking just shipping them back, holding them in cells, arresting people. When we should be pumping this money into our fucking country. Why are we not fixing the hoods that are holding people back and making our people less likely to succeed, and making more immigrants, such as the Chinese doctors, such as the Indian professors, and God knows what else, right? Such as all of these things. But no, let's not put no money into the tragedies that are going on in our own country. For instance, Detroit. For instance, Baltimore City. For instance, the terrible parts of the inner city in New York. For instance, Chicago. All these fucking disgusting things in St. Louis, and the drug trafficking and the gang banging and shit. We're not putting no fucking money into that, other than, oh yeah, well, we got the police force who are known to be corrupt, who are, debatably bad cops out there. Who knows? Who doesn't know? We don't know what they're thinking in the moment. There's a lot that goes into bad cops, and there's a lot that goes into corruption from felons and people that break the law and stuff like that. There's a lot more that goes into all that. Some people were forced to break the law because they can't provide for their family, or they just can't get ahead. They go to these jobs and they don't have the right education. They feel stupid. They get these managers who probably treat them like shit. You're not learning fast enough. You're not doing this.
True, I've been there.
Let's leave it there. Let's not get too far into that. We're not building up our own freaking society because we're pumping money into other countries. That's the bottom line.
Well, here's the thing. You also have to take this aspect, right?
Hold that right there.
Okay.
Let me finish.
All right, I got you.
Do I think immigrancy is important? Yes, I do. I'm not completely against it. Don't get me wrong. I can't make no money if Jose and Hong Kong is over here stealing my motherfucking job. I get that. I get that to a total extent, but they're not animals. And animals shouldn't even be treated like animals. We have to be humans about this shit. We have to be humane. We have to unite properly. We have to build up our own society. And we have to make it beneficial for all of us. You know what I'm saying? If Mexico is in such a big freaking, whatever they got going on, whether it's poverty or whether it's, gang banging or whatever the hell it is. And I'm sure it's a lot of that. I'm sure it's a mixture of corrupt government and all that. Then as a unity, the big countries that have these issues with these immigrants and all this other shit need to come together and they need to fix that. Straight up. Leave it at that. You ain't willing to do that, then you ain't willing to fix the problems that's in your country. But instead you want to keep pumping money into it and pumping money into it and pumping money into it. Fuck that. Pump money into your own goddamn society. Fix your own streets. Fix your own schooling system. Our schooling systems are a fucking joke depending on which county you live in. I went to a school that had fucking prison bars on it. Why am I going to a school that has prison bars on it and I'm being fucking checked with a metal detector?
Shouldn't be happening. It
shouldn't be fucking happening. Everybody should have a chance. Everybody should have a dream. I know it's a free country. Not everybody is given the same rights. Not everybody is given the same paths. Not everybody is born into, someone who is willing to help them, nurture them, treat them properly. You know what else is a big fucking joke in this country? I don't even know what the hell you would call it, man. Like kids in like the in the system, like not the ones that don't get adopted, child protective services and stuff like that. It's another joke, a huge joke, and I was in the system, so I know all about it.
Here's the sad part about this, right? So I'm just gonna put this little tidbit in there, and I'm gonna let you continue. The sad part,
go ahead, I'm done.
The sad part about this, that whole dichotomy is that there are people in positions of power that will sit over there and look at the oppressed, that will sit there and look at those who are less fortunate and be like, you know what? I can exploit them and make more money off of them in the long run if I exploit them at certain times and if I ignore them at certain times. But I can also exploit the side that has money, that came from up and decent background, and I can exploit some of these point of views just enough to have them go at it, create division, and I get my cash. That is the problem. People are more concerned about the almighty dollar and not the human being. The only reason why I feel like we're now in this mental health talk, and that's an aspect, and that is, kind of a catastrophe, the lack of mental health, which has came from all of these things.
That was my number
questions.
3, by the way, so you were right.
Yeah.
Mental health is the number 3.
And
honestly, could be the number 1 problem in all of the world.
Right. And the sad thing about it is for so long, when it comes to the mental health aspect in this country, we have swept it under the rug for so long that it took a bunch of catastrophes for us to treat it as an important issue to tackle. And I feel like sometimes the only reason why we're bringing it up now because the country is going to exploit that in some way, shape, or fashion to use that for their own political or marginal gain. And it's very disheartening for me to say because there are people that are currently that deal with mental health, that people that I didn't even know could probably deal with that. I've dealt with that at times, that are dealing with depression. Some people are dealing with stuff that strictly is suicide almost.
But why are people depressed?
I'll break it down.
Because they're controlled.
Yeah, I do break it down. People have these dreams and these goals, and to be in an environment where you feel like you're set up to fail, to be in an environment where you feel like you're being controlled, to be in an environment where as much as talented as you are, as much potential as you have no choice but to be under someone. You have to answer to someone. You have to get up at a certain time. You have to go to sleep at a certain time because you have to work for somebody. You're basically, and then the more depressing thought with that is you are literally working a bunch of hours to make somebody else's dream come true and not your own. When people start thinking like that, it is going to cause depression. I thought like that.
Keep that thought.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I just started. I'm not gonna put the job out there. None of that. Right. I have an injury. I have an injury in my lower lumbar with a cracked disc that is pushing. My disc is being bulged and shoved down towards my lower lumbar, which is pinching my sciatic nerve, which numbs my leg and puts me in excruciating pain. If you've ever had this issue, then you know what I'm talking about. But I have a cracked disc. Let me tell you a little bit. Let me tell you the difference in a cracked slip disc than just a slip disc. When you have a cracked disc, it's exactly how it sounds. Break a CD and poke your leg with it. Now imagine that pushing towards your spine. Chances are, if that punctures your spinal cord or anything in that general area that's important, you could be paralyzed. It could be anything. I'm dealing with that kind of injury right now. I'm in the processes of getting healed, and I'm taking all my precautions and my steps. I'm literally put in a position to where I can either focus on my health or focus on my health less and work. Let me tell you why I'm put into those positions. If I focus on my health, I can't pay my bills. I have nowhere to sleep. I have no car to get me back and forth to these appointments that I need to. I have no car to do the things that I need to do because I cannot work. That's just me focusing on my health. Resting up, getting healed, not possible. There's two things that can take my freedom from me. My freedom of being able to walk and my freedom of getting the help that I need to take care of an injury that I've been plaguing for 10 years. Whether or not they decide, oh, you're not eligible for health insurance anymore. Or whether or not my insurance covers whatever the fuck I need done. That is the life we live, and we wonder why people are depressed. That's number one. Keep that in mind. This is my position that I'm in. I'm forced to work because I got bills to pay. I got rent to pay, car payment to pay, electric to pay. I'm not in a position to where I can run it off and live with somebody and move with my family. I have my own family that I got to help support and stick with, and and we all help each other out, and we try to make it as a whole. Keep all that in mind. So I'm being forced to work while getting my health taken care of, which means that I can only put about 70-30 into my health. 70% my health, because I'm definitely putting health first. 30% I need to work. Okay, well, let me explain this to you. I interview with this guy. I basically let him know, listen, I do have this experience that you are looking for, but I'm not going to be able to jump in and be the savior of your establishment. I'm plaguing this injury. This is what's going on. This is probably how long it's going to take, and there's a really great chance that I need multiple surgeries. I said this to the guy in the interview, by the way, before I'm even hired. This guy, and don't get me wrong, I appreciate him wanting to give me the opportunity to make some money. And I definitely appreciate the fact that he pushed to get me the max, even though I'm not pumping at 100%. So I meet up with them. I fill out my paperwork and everything, and I basically tell them, like, yeah, I'm excited to come on. You know, I need to stick with this certain amount of hours, and I need this certain amount of days to be able to take care of my physical therapy. I can't do physical therapy on the weekends, by the way. And so I'm willing to work the weekends. That's fine with me. My first week, I lie to you not, I'm scheduled for 5 days at 36 hours. Where did this fly over your head that I can work full time for 5 days when I literally signed on and told you I'm injured, I need to get healthy, I'm willing to work 2 to 3 days at about 20 to 25 hours. And let me tell you, I'm pushing that. My doctor, he don't want me to work at all. But guess what? Doctor doesn't want you to work, but he's also not giving you options to make any money. Not in his curriculum. That ain't what he went to school for, in other words. So this is where I'm leaving it. Because this guy needs somebody with my talents, he doesn't give a fuck how he uses me. He just wants to use me. And let me tell you, when I go to these people and I say, hey, what's up with this? You know, I can't do this right now.
This is why I don't trust 9 to 5s going.
Check this out. I wish it was a 9 to 5. I work whatever hours they want me to work, but let's leave it at that. Now, let me tell you, when I go to these people and I say, hey, this is a problem because of these 5 reasons that I've already interviewed you for. You had the opportunity to hire somebody else. You had the opportunity to say, hey, bud, this ain't going to work out because I need you for this. You had that opportunity, by the way. To where, like, most of the employees are sticking their nose up at me. Upset because I say, hey, I can't work this. I can't come in. Or, hey, I can't pick that up. Don't be upset at me because I told you exactly how the fuck it was and you didn't listen. So now I got these people I'm working with. They sticking their nose up at me. They talking shit. No. He's not punctual or he's not loyal. Well, first of all, I'm punctual. I show up for work. If I'm scheduled to work, I either tell you I ain't coming or I show up on the dot. I'm punctual as fuck. But that's besides the point. The point is, at any point in time, these people, they're upset with me. They don't want me here. Now, I got to deal with people who, quite frankly, are pissed off about their own jobs and their own fucking life, that they want to have issues. So now they're giving me a hard time because I can't perform what they want me to perform.
And now spreading that bad energy onto you, or now, trying to at least.
Now preach it. Because you know I don't give a fuck.
And that,
I let them fat ugly bitches know how it is.
See, the issue is, man, when it comes to America has subconsciously taught many generations to, get to the top however you can do it. Don't matter who you got to step on, who you got to cast aside, just do it.
They've basically forced us into being self-critical. That's basically what it is.
Oh yeah, self-critical and judgmental of others, and that's not a good recipe, for a lot of different reasons. So I have to go into a 9 to 5. Keep in mind, there's a lot of time wasted there. Okay, let's factor this in. If you were to go after your dream, 100% you're doing it. Whatever that may be. It necessarily doesn't have to be arts or entertainment. Whatever it may be. All of your time can be 100% focused if that's the only thing you got to worry about. Outside of family and friends, that's the only thing you got to worry about. It can be obtained. It's going to take a while. It ain't going to come overnight for some of you, but it can be attained. Here's where the issue comes in. Now, you're getting a paycheck, building somebody else's dream, which you were giving them leverage to dictate your schedule, your time. They give you time off. They give you the benefits.
At their expense, by the way.
At their expense.
They tell you how long you can take, when you can take it. And that's that. Go ahead.
Right. And then you got to factor this in. You now have to get used to how they do their culture, which means you have to take time out of your precious schedule to try to get these people to like you to a certain extent. And I'm not talking about kissing butt. I'm just talking about being likable so you can keep this a steady pace. And meanwhile, they are paying, whether they're paying you weekly or bi-weekly, you were living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. Now, keep this in mind. And I know this from personal experience. You can be the nicest person. You can be the person that constantly shows up early. You can be the person that everybody gets along with. If you are not moving their bottom line, they will release you, and you might get a decent reason why. You might. That ain't promised either. So now you could be in a situation where you just bought a house, you just got a car, or you just got all this different stuff to keep you afloat. Now, if you lose that job and they take away benefits, they take away all the benefits and the perks that came with it. Now you're in a rebuilding phase. You got to try to see if you can even file unemployment. You might have to fight for the unemployment depending on your employer. And you sat there and wasted all this time, put your talents into somebody else's dream. Was it beneficial for you at times, depending on what the situation was? Possibly. But you have devoted your time, you put in hours after work, and they still gave you your ass to kiss? Or they still gave you their ass to kiss? They pulled you inside and said, look, we got to let you go.
Pretty much.
Because
and not even just
because
that.
of politics.
But listen, check this out. This is actually goes right down the line with what you're saying. They're not even willing to put the time in to train you to where you can be successful and make them a success. They want to put bare minimum into this, and they want to say, okay, well, we've paid enough for your training. You need to go do the thing. There's that too.
And you wonder why people get depressed. You wonder why some of the nicest people become one of the meanest people ever. You wonder why some people just say, screw it, I'm going to look out for me and be selfish as crap. Because here's another devastating part about it, especially if you're a creative and you're in arts and entertainment. When people do shicey stuff like that, you are left creatively drained, like for weeks, maybe months. Like, it's not a good feeling. Trust me, I know.
Yep. When somebody tells you that, hey, you're good at what you do, but it just takes you too long, it's not in my time frame, they're basically shitting on your talent and the fact and the fact that you are willing to put the time in for detail to give out the best product. That means they don't give a fuck about their product. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. There's deadlines. There's stuff that needs to be done. That's cool. We get that. But don't expect to give the best product if you don't want to get the time or wait for it. They want to keep pumping and pumping and pumping and getting the maximum money for the shortest amount of time. And I get it. It's a business. But that's not... you're not going to get the best product. So whatever you're selling that shit half-ass. Which, by the way, warps back to us, the people. While we're working on somebody else's dream, and we're saying, okay, well, we want to buy a nice car. That nice car we just bought, that nice car had a deadline. That nice car is not perfected. They put that motherfucker out with bugs. They put that motherfucker out with issues. They recall those motherfuckers. And guess what? This thing that we're being overcharged for because interest is a huge thing in America, it's not even worth what the fuck we're paying for it because they rushed it. Now go ahead.
So from that aspect, when you sit over there and look at the different bills and stuff like that, now you are left to creatively, or now you're left to rebuild everything that you tried to build up. These people left you high and dry. And people wonder why, for example, and people wonder why when I sit over here and I look at Jeff has seen Joker, I've seen Joker. And people wonder why, what causes people to freak out, lose their mind, and just start being reckless. These little things build up and add up, man. I'm not condoning the actions of what these crazy people do and what the, you know what I'm saying? But I could understand.
How you gonna give them an excuse and then call them crazy?
Rob, I ain't mean to be that unpolitical.
This is what adds up to this, but they're still crazy though.
But here's the thing, man. It's one of those situations.
Crazy, justified motherfucker. I tell you, I get why you nuts. But I'm going to still call you nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got you.
But it's one of them things, man. Like, I get really annoyed because I see so many talented people get chewed up, used by a machine or by a company and spit out, especially if they're doing something artistic. And it's just terrible. It's just wrong. And you never. And the sad thing about it is you have a hard time trusting people again after going through something like that. You never trust people again. You're always thinking, I'm like,
you're expecting
give me a
the
reason.
Worst.
Give me a reason not to trust you. Give me a reason.
Instead of being lifted and excited, you know, and feeling like, oh man, this is about to be a great thing. This is a great opportunity. You're expecting the worst. You can't even go into something with a positive attitude because you're thinking, man, I hope I don't fuck up like I did at the last job. I hope they don't find a problem with me. I hope, just in general, not even just with work, with relationships, with everything. Everything is fucked. There's nothing that anybody can do to be happy anymore because everything is being swirled back around in the same fucking loophole, which is keeping us back. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the sad thing about it is we get to the point we don't trust each other, and then we get to the point where, look, I'm not going to open up. So now, if Jeff asks me, Everett, you okay? I'm going to look at him with a straight face and be like, I'm fine, but I'm dealing with all of this trust issues and anger and I'm not expressing it. Frustration and all this different type of stuff. But because I'm so in my head from being hurt from all those different issues that we talked about earlier, I'm thinking I'm saving face. No, I'm building it up for it to come out 10 times worse down the road. And I don't know what day it is. I don't know what week it is. I'm just using myself as an example so nobody else gets offended or feels some type of way. But I'm just using that as an example. And I am a very reserved person. I'm not the one to pop off on somebody. I'm just not wired that way. So if that ever was to happen, it's got to be something really serious going on. And that's the thing, man. It's one of those situations, man, where people. I look at the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, and the fact that he had an issue with laughing and he was crying at the same time and stuff of that nature, and the bullying that he went through, and the constant picking and nitpicking and people picking at him, people making fun of him and this and that and being misunderstood, people laughing out the room in the comedy room and stuff of that nature. And then the people that were coming at him, spoiler alert, people, this is spoiler alert because we're reviewing Joker as well. So spoiler alert, if you didn't see it yet, go see it, then come back, play the rest of this episode. Here's the thing. The moment that everything popped off was when it was at that subway station and them dudes were coming at him and he popped off with that gun.
Let me stop you for a minute. Why don't we address the critics first? Why don't we walk into this? And I'm sure a lot of the critique, Marvel fans, expecting DC to flop again. DC fans expecting this to be a flop again because there was people that were a fan of the Jared Leto Joker. There was people that were fans of the Heath Ledger Joker, which can't do that anymore. So let's address the critics real quick. The three things that stood out to me when it came to the critique is, number one, this movie was too sensitive. That's number one. Let's start with that. So now we live in a world, in a society, in a universe that we watch something that's fictional to get offended by it. We watch a movie because we're looking for fantasy and controversy and things that we can't really do or see in real life. And people get fucking offended by it. Now, like I said, this is probably a mixture of overly sensitive people, Marvel fans, diehard Marvel fans, expecting this movie to suck.
I gotta cut in here because really it's the critics that were more concerned than the audience. The majority of the audience loved the film.
Oh yeah, this is why we're talking about the critics, and
right.
And critics are fans too.
Right.
They're not just we're getting paid to critique this. If you're a critic, it's because you have a passion for that. That's why you're a critic. You have a passion for the art of, what would you even call it? What is that? What is the art of filmmaking? Like just
it's the art of storytelling.
The art of storytelling, the art of directory. Just the art of that world. You're a fan of that world for a reason. This is why you're a critic. You're telling me that these fucking critics go into this movie saying, I'm concerned that it's going to touch people too dramatically and it's going to basically upset the world and all these people are going to start shooting people and shit like that. I got two things to say to that. If a movie can draw that kind of emotion, then you did your fucking job as a director. You did your job as an actor. And you did your job as a screenwriter, because goddamn, if you can draw that kind of reaction, holy fuck.
I think it's necessary. I think we need to have more superhero films like this that touch on these certain issues.
Oh, real problems?
Yes, real problems. Arthur in this story was having mental health issues.
Mental health.
Serious mental health issues. I may watch it again just to pick up on some of the things that I missed. He was dealing with mental health issues, man. Social anxiety, anger, the truths that about his mom and Thomas Wayne and being in a struggling community, being constantly misunderstood, bullied, beat up, you know what I mean? Different things of that nature, feeling like an orphan and stuff of that regard. And just the lack of identity. The lack of identity he felt, and also wanting to be just wanting to be seen, wanting to be admired, wanting to be a name, and wanting to be, wanting to be respected. All of this stuff was touched on throughout that film.
Which everybody wants. Everybody wants to be respected. Everybody wants their voice to be heard. Everybody wants to be treated as an accepted member of society. Nobody wants to be treated like an outcast or treated like a problem. Nobody wants to be treated like, oh, I can't go to the store or I can't go to this event because people are going to be offended by me being here. People are going to look at me the wrong way. Or if I say something that somebody's not going to like, then I'm going to get fucked up for it. Who the fuck wants to live like that? Nobody.
Nobody wants to live like that. And then you get shocked and surprised when you have a Joker incident. When this guy finally decides to snap and starts going off on people. And that's exactly what Arthur did. What you saw in that movie happens every other day.
Yeah. I'm going to go see it again. And it's not because I'm a super DC fan, because I'm a fan of Marvel too. I think people seem to forget that. I'm a fan of these kind of movies. I'm a fan of the of the fantasy of that world. You know, it's something that helps me escape the shit that I go through on a daily basis. This is something that helps me escape.
It's therapy.
You know,
it's visual therapy.
It definitely is. It's not even just physical therapy. I mean, visual therapy. You know, it's mental therapy as well. Because when I'm sitting here and I'm getting trapped into another world, you know, and I'm watching a great movie and like, oh, what's the last Avengers? Really good movie. I was so caught up in worrying about what's going on with their world, I wasn't worried about what the fuck was going on with mine. While I was watching Joker, I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, dude, my depression ain't on that level. You know, my life ain't on that level. My shit ain't that bad. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here looking, I'm feeling bad for this dude. The villain of the story became the hero of the story. That motherfucking best fucking movie I've seen probably the past 15 years.
The last superhero film that was this great. This reminded me of Logan. Even though it's not the same, but just a superhero movie that was rated R but focused on pulling at the heartstrings and brought a sense of realism as to what people go through from an emotional standpoint. Yes
and no. I can agree with you and disagree with you at the same time because I'm going to explain to you why I disagree. I felt like we really captured a realism of Joker. And Wolverine's probably my favorite X-Men, so don't even come at me with that, oh, you're hating on Marvel shit. Fuck that. But I feel like the Joker really pulled at the strings of realism. Right, it wasn't no crazy fucking claws coming out my arm. Right. I'm superhuman. This was legit a person who was screwed the fuck over from society, who found no other way out, that decided to create his own path because the paths that were forged for him were not the ones that worked. They were not the ones that were for him. So he created his own path and he started his own fucking occult following. Some would say he created, and I can't even think of the word right this second.
He created his own world. He created his own
revolution.
World.
There we go. I found it. He created a revolution. And you're captured by this. It captivates the fuck out of you because you're going, this dude has been wronged. You know what I mean? I understand why this motherfucker's about to flip the fuck out. Do I think it's right? No. Do I think, him killing innocent people is right? Him doing to people that did no harm to him is right? I do not. I'm not going to go beat, Jack and Jill over there up because, John and Teresa fucked with me. Mm-hmm. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
But so back to your point, I do understand the way that you're definitely comparing Logan and the Joker, but Marvel definitely went with, okay, we're going to hit you with some realistic strings here, but we're also going to fucking bring you back from reality and make sure that, hey, this is fake. Todd Phillips ain't do that. He said, watch, motherfucker, this is what real life's about. He said, not all of us are actually villains. Some of us are the heroes in our own story. And he presented that to us. And we all know the Joker's a villain. I don't think he's ever been known as an anti-hero, to be honest with you. What do you call that? Like Lex Luthor. Like Lex Luthor had his thing against Superman because he thought Superman was going to take over the world. Mm-hmm. And I'm real bad with names right now because I'm tired of shit, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
It's
funny because I saw a quote on Facebook where it was like, when we were kids, we always rooted for the heroes. When we got older, we understand where the villain is coming from. And that was a quote I saw on Facebook. It was like one of those photos. But it was, that quote spoke volumes to me.
And that's the thing. You got your petty supervillains with their pointless motives. I just want to be rich, so I'm going to rob a bank. Yeah, that's a I'm broke. I need some money. You got your guy out there that, hey, I don't like the society we live in, so I'm going to go create fucking mutant humans. That's your scientific fucking nutball. Then you got the guy who is constantly being screwed over. He feels no other way or finds no other path. And he decides, fuck it. If they think I'm crazy, or if they think I'm not, part of this society, I'm going to create my own. By God, did they do it. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait for the next movie.
I don't know if they're gonna do a sequel with this. I don't think they need it. I think this should be a standalone film. Honestly, I would be happy with that if they went that direction.
As a DC fan, I'm hoping they build off of this. They've scrapped it. They've scrapped the whole fucking Justice League. I don't know why I went to call it Suicide Squad. They scrapped it. Mm-hmm. They went a totally different route. Right? This is where it's at. Now, DC. There's two things are going to happen from this. DC is known for being too serious. They're known for not putting on, great. They're not known for putting on too, like, how would I say it? They have a lot of holes.
They have
their
films,
dialogue's not always there.
Yeah, they have films that have missed the mark. Basically, what you're saying from a screenplay standpoint.
They've had some films that were a little what just happened and why did they skip through that? You got to build off of this. This movie was splendid. You need to recreate now because you done scrapped everything else. You need to recreate. This is where you need to recreate at. Am I saying to start cluster fucking it and confusing it? No. I'm not telling you to have the Joker playing every damn movie. What I'm telling you to do is you need to build your damn superheroes back up because right now they losing. And that's the bottom line. You done scrapped your Superman. You done scrapped your Batman. You done scrapped your Suicide Squad. I'm hearing Harley Quinn's getting a standalone film.
Well, I heard that Suicide Squad 2 is coming out.
Aquaman's a success, in my opinion. Wonder Woman was a success, in my opinion. The Joker's a success, in my opinion. There's your three. Flip it around and fix it. Find a way to build off of that. And you got it.
Yeah, man. It's going to be really interesting to see where this goes. So out of 10, where do you put the Joker? What's your rating?
In all honesty, 10 out of 10. Straight up. This movie was perfect to me.
I may have to put it at like a 9.5. I mean, if it wins Academy Awards, I won't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Joaquin Phoenix walks away with an Academy Award for Best Actor for this. Don't be surprised if you see them. They might get a Best Picture nomination from this.
I mean, screenplay, directing, acting, soundtrack, everything you want in a movie was perfect. The only thing I can say is you got an inspired comedic, and there wasn't one funny fucking part of this movie.
Right.
That could be my only problem. But I feel as though if they would have made it a little too funny,
they would have lost the heart of the film.
I think it would have lost the heart of the film, and I can get it. People didn't find the funny in his jokes. But I can promise you one thing. In this new society that he created, there'll be some people laughing. The Joker always gets his killing joke out. Remember that.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, this has been another edition of Audio Airstrike. Jeff, man, thank you for coming through.
Always a pleasure.
Definitely appreciate it, man. Until next time, everybody, y'all take care. This is some food for thought.
Peace.
Y'all listen.